Hi guys, this is Yana and I wanted to give you a few tips on how to ace organic chemistry. So I wrote down a few and I will go ahead and tell you what they are. So the first tip that I have written down is, if anybody tells you organic chemistry is so difficult, I hate organic chemistry, it's the worst, stop. Don't listen to them. If you will get in the mindset that it's so difficult, it's the worst class ever, you will not be able to love it as I did. And yes, I did love organic chemistry. I ended up getting A+ in both Organic Chemistry 1 and Organic Chemistry 2, and I ended up working in Organic Chemistry lab for 3 years. So if you listen to the following tips, you'll be able to learn how to love organic chemistry. And the first comes with mindset. If you will let yourself believe that it's the worst and it's so bad, yeah, it will be. But if you will put in the work consistently, you will see just how easy organic chemistry is. You'll be understanding it, and yeah, I think you'll be able to love it. My second tip, once you start the class, make sure you know your basics. Thankfully, organic chemistry and the textbook and the professors, they let you know everything you need to know from that class. So if you didn't pay attention in chemistry, it will be a little more difficult, but it still will be very doable. The basics in chemistry will at least prepare you to what to learn, things like resonance or how atoms act and why they act the way they do. But even if you didn't know those things from chemistry, you'll be able to learn it in chapter 1 and chapter 2 of organic chemistry, as long as you pay attention. And I think this is the most crucial thing, that you need to make sure you understand all the basics, or you won't be able to follow through with more difficult things like organic chemistry 2. Everything in organic chemistry just builds on each other. So you have to go through the class and make sure you understand, not only memorize, but understand every little thing. And that will give you a very strong foundation to move forward. So make sure you're paying attention. My third tip to help with that is go to every lecture and take notes. I know in other classes, you might be going through them just looking at the PowerPoints and just gauging what it's talking about, then doing practice problems and you're all good to go. It will not go in organic chemistry. If you really want to ace the class, and I know for a lot of pre-meds out there, you have to ace the class. You have to make sure you're going to every lecture. If you miss one, I made the same mistake at the beginning in Organic Chemistry 1 and I was not able to catch up. I needed to go to every single office hours. I needed to reach out to anybody I know to just explain me the material that I didn't understand. I had to study till 2 a.m. for a week before the first exam. So make sure you don't do my mistake and just go to every lecture, take notes. If you have the time, review the information before the lecture. That way it will be more of a review. But if you don't do that step, it will be very difficult to catch up. So please don't do the mistake I did. Now, my tip number 4 is put in consistent effort. So when the time comes for the exam, it feels more of a review and you don't have to cram all the information. The more times you expose yourself to that information, even if you don't understand it at first, much better than just looking over it once. And believe me, organic chemistry is one class you will need to put consistent effort in. Without the effort, you will not understand what's going on. For me personally, I ended up doing it. I made sure to study at least 2 to 3 times a week on my own in the evenings. It doesn't have to be too long, it depends on the information. At first it was more to make sure I understand the basics, but the longer it went on, you might not believe this, but for organic chemistry 2, by the end of the semester, mid to end of the semester, I didn't even study for the class because my basics were so strong, because I put in the effort in the beginning. So that's what I'm asking you. Make sure to put consistent effort at first. Make sure you understand every single detail. Go over the information as often as possible. And even if you think you know everything, just go ahead and see what you don't know. Try to learn something a little extra. It might be used later on, so it's better to just understand it consistently. With that said, whenever you're going through your reviews on your own or with study groups or in office hours, take good notes, and make sure to summarize everything. I remember I had these summary sheets. The more you write it down, the more you'll remember, and sometimes you don't need to look through all your notes, you might just need some references, right? For example, for future on, whenever you are learning new simple synthesis reactions, make sure to write them down. I had summaries on summaries just because it's easier to access all of them at once than having to go through my notes and like, oh, which one is this, which one is this. Just have all of them in one place. Do your summary sheets. That will help you out a lot, especially in synthesis. And my last tip is use all the resources available. I've already mentioned going to lectures, every lecture. Make sure to go to office hours. Even if you feel like you don't need help, just go in there and do homework there. That way you don't have to spend hours figuring out a problem on your own, when if you're confused, the TA is already there and you can just go ahead and ask them. And even if you don't need all that much help, just do your homework there. Listen to other people's questions. See if you can answer them, if you understand the material or if you don't. So that is definitely a big resource. And just a tip, if you want to work in a research lab, perhaps that's what I did. I went to every single office hours of a few of my favorite TAs. Even if I didn't have any questions, I just chatted with them, I helped with other students, I made sure I understand the material, and by getting to know me better, they recommended me to the professors so I could work in their lab. And that's an easy way to just get a position without being, compared to tens of other applicants. Because you already know them, they know how much effort you put in. That's an easy way. So if that's what you're into, make sure to use this tip. Now, make sure to also use tutors. Some of the schools, I know UT Austin definitely did, they have free tutoring offered on campus. So make sure to see if they have that. And if not, see if you can find somebody out of your peers who just took Organic Chemistry 1 or just took Organic Chemistry 2, maybe in your pre-med clubs or in other social orgs. See if you can get tutored, because if you need the extra help, but make sure to use that resource as well because it is available for you. And then last resource, you can actually make it for yourself. Make sure to create some small study groups of people who you're constantly 2 or 3 times a week just getting together studying organic chemistry. For them to explain the information to you, for you to explain the information to them, and to do practice problems. All of that helps a lot, especially teaching. So for me personally, I didn't have a study group I wanted to be part of, because I was just going on as I had the time. But I would end up teaching the information to myself and just saying it out loud and making sure I know every little part. And if there is a confusing question, ask yourself, ask your peer, and see if they can explain it to you. And if not, hey, there are office hours and there is the professor. Always utilize other resources. And last tip, I guess a bonus tip, make it fun. You don't have to struggle with it. You don't have to think it's the worst thing ever, because when you figure out you can actually understand the material and you have that light bulb moment, oh, it feels so satisfying. And make it fun with the friends, do practice problems, see who makes it the most. Just do hangout groups. Make sure you make it enjoyable for yourself. That way you're not struggling with it. And believe me, by doing all of these tips that I already mentioned, you will end up loving organic chemistry. I can promise you that. So if you liked this video and you liked my tips, make sure to subscribe and let me know what other questions you would have with college or anything else, and I'll make a video about that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye!